So this is the area underneath the decking that they are pulling out now. And as you can see, they have ripped out the fiberglass insulation on the bulkhead and on the overhead. Everything is wrapped, all the wiring and everything is wrapped against the torch work. And you can see they're beginning to take it out right here. And moving further aft into the next compartment, they've removed the decking. You can see daylight in there. And this is the last stage of redecking in the aft part of the ship. The K-guns are right past that frame right there. So that'll be the extent of where they're going. And that will get rid of all that compromised galvanized steel that has been causing us so many problems for so long a period. And we'll have a nice, good steel deck again. So back in the aftmost berthing, they have finished all the decking, and they have been able to come behind now and they've ripped out, of course, when they ripped the steel out, they ripped out the old fiberglass insulation, and they've got brand new insulation in. It just looks gorgeous and beautiful. It means we're going to have to paint everything in here again, because now all the original paintwork looks nasty and dull. So we got to make it look good. But all of you who have spent the night aboard the Kidd in past years and slept on the top bunk, usually it's kids sleeping on the top bunk, and they hit their head on that overhead and the old paint flakes off because it's dry and it lets go. And the parents are like, oh my God, asbestos. That was always fiberglass, but now this brand new stuff, there's no doubt. We had tested the old stuff and it was fiberglass, but there's no doubt this is not asbestos. This is new, modern 2024 insulation, and it looks gorgeous. We had finished all of the fantail decking in the back, replacing that, the wasted metal in that, but you can see they have peeled up more of that. We went through, if you follow our social media posts, we went through and brought a team and pulled out all the bunks and all the equipment out of two of the berthing areas, crew berthing areas, back aft, from gun mount 55 moving forward to the sewing room. And what that was in response to was a request, hey, we've got steel left over that you paid for. If you would like us to bring that forward and replace this wasted deck coming up to the K-guns, and you can see how pitted and corroded that deck was, that galvanized deck that got compromised throughout her years in service by people chipping and scraping, very likely, then if you can do that, we'll go ahead and take it forward. So they have started work on that now, to where they are removing the bad decking, and they will put a new deck all the way up to this aft K-gun on either side. Thank you, Thomas C. Remember, like the video, share the video to somebody else that might be interested in it, and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know whenever we drop new content. And thank you for your support so far. And after you see this video, go to USSKIDD.com and hit the donate button. We're up on the searchlight platform. Of course, the searchlights are back in the Kidd Cave.
Back cave, Kidd Cave.
Undergoing restoration. But we're on top of the forward stack on the searchlight platform, and right behind me is the main mast. And one of the big things that we had slated was to make sure that we had a good structural survey of the mast, the yard arm, and all the equipment on it, the radar sets and everything, to make sure that nothing is compromised, nothing can fall. Because I certainly can't climb the mast as much as I used to. But Thomas C. has surveyed it, and they have declared that it is sound. So we are very happy to hear that. And the remainder of the mast, actually I'm going to rephrase that, not the remainder of the mast now in its entirety has been blasted and zinced. So she is good to go. Last video we had, This baby doll right here was nice and red with surface rust. And a lot of people were like, what's going on? Well, she got cleaned off of the surface rust and she's been zinced. So this coating right here, zinc coating, prevents new rust from occurring. And that has happened everywhere that the initial blasting occurred on. So let's take a walk down the decks and let's see what new developments we've had. Follow me. Miss Molly, watch the cables. Safety first. If you're watching this, you can see all the cables laying around. This is why shipyard tours are a little difficult to manage sometimes.
Sorry about the mess.
I want to point out, aluminum doesn't need the zinc coating because it doesn't rust like the steel does. So this is one of the reasons why you saw red spots all over last time, and instead they put zinc up and now it's nice and clean. So as you can see, as you look around here above us and on the main deck, they have zinced everything that they did in their initial blasting. I think the last time we talked, the blasting had gotten back to midships, and they have zinced all of this that needs zinking. It's a juxtaposition of aluminum and steel, aluminum and steel. It's not all solid in any given area. They're not zinking the aluminum at all because there's no need. It's not going to rust. So this is not damaged. This is just epoxy left from the wood that was put here to protect the glass when it was being blasted. So as we come back through midships passage right here, you can see they have completely blasted the aft stack. The only thing that's not blasted at this point is the torpedo tubes. Everything leading aft has now been blasted and zinced. Our louvers are still being fabricated for supply and vent intakes and outlets. And you can't see it very well here, but if you look close, you can see weld marks. So we'll throw some pictures up so you can see what it looked like when it was freshly blasted. It looked like alien crop circles and Egyptian hieroglyphics. That guy likes making noise when I'm talking.
I'm telling a story.
Looked like Egyptian hieroglyphics all over this area. And what it was is Kidd underwent changes during World War II to her anti-submarine outfitting. There were times to where she had 2 racks of depth charges side by side. So all of these weld marks are the K-guns and the depth charge racks changing positions and changing configurations from 43 to 44 to 40 to what you see now in their 45 configuration. One of our biggest projects that we were really excited about doing was returning the Stewards Berthing back to its World War II configuration. In the 50s, they reconfigured the mess deck ladders. They didn't need the Stewards Berthing anymore because there was no more segregation after 1948. And so they took that space and they put fire control equipment in there. And the African-American crewmates and the black crewmates lived everywhere else that the rest of the crew did. So Kidd set up for her August 1945 configuration. That's her target date. And this was a once-in-a-lifetime event to be able to put that part of the ship back because it's definitely shipyard work, not stuff that we can do just sitting offshore in Baton Rouge. So the first thing that you'll notice if you're touring Kidd when you come back after we get back to Baton Rouge is the breakwater has moved. We had a dual breakwater, one right here, and the bottom had been chopped out for easier walking. And another one, Miss Molly, you're gonna have to back up just a little bit, right here past this duct. And the second breakwater protected the messmen who were bringing trays of food to put in a dumbwaiter that was located right here. So it was sheltered by the 2 breakwaters. And then they lowered it down. Now Kidd is one of the few that I've heard of, and I've been talking to destroyer vets online to see who all had the dumbwaiter upgrade, and there's a few, but it doesn't seem like there was a lot. So it may have been a failed experiment for all I know. But this is where the dumbwaiter entrance was to feed the dumbwaiter from the main deck to send it down. So that is all sealed up now, nice and clean. Our breakwater is renewed on the bottom here. There's a little fairing here that kept water from coming in. That's gone now, it's just railing. We now have a watertight door that closes in. If you've been to Sullivan's or you've been to Cass & Young, they have a watertight door. We've got our World War II setup again with the watertight door. And if you follow me, welcome to Stewards Berthing. If you visited KIDD in the past, what you would remember is coming down this ladder, but the ladder was farther back. The ladder actually ended up dropping you right about where in the middle of where this hatch now sits. And there was this huge dumbwaiter that sat right here. And when you came off of the ladder, you literally would bump. There was no room to put your feet down. You would have to step to the side of the dumbwaiter shaft. So the dumbwaiter shaft is gone now. This ladder has moved forward to fill that space. And then right here at our feet, you can see where this hatch had been moved to. So you would come and walk between the ladder and that ladder combing and then go down to the next level. So that is all sealed up. The ladder has been moved back to where it was in World War II. And then Miss Molly, if we'll do a dance here real quick. This line right here coming across was where a small divider wall, very thin wall, was put up with a door, and all of the fire control equipment was put in here. You can see where the brackets were with all the equipment on the floor marked out. They have shaved all the support brackets off the bulkheads and off of the floors. It's nice and smooth now. So what is left for us to do in this space is to mount racks, bunk frames, mount them back on the bulkheads, and find lockers and put the lockers into place. There would have been 12 bunks in here according to the blueprint. Doesn't mean we had 12 stewards mates at all times. I counted up our list, and at most, at one point during the war, we had 9 stewards mates. The lowest we ever had was when they were decommissioning her at the end of the war, we had 2 stewards mates. But we didn't have as large of a crew because people were leaving and going home. So we will put this back together. This may not, in fact, probably will not happen in the shipyard. This will happen, you'll be able to see it happening in Baton Rouge, very likely. And we'll be painting and mounting the equipment and everything and putting it back together again. Do you want to go down and see in the mess, not mess, what do you call it? Food service line.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go to the food service line.
Ready to go to A-Bears.
Ready to go to A-Bears for lunch. So, with the old configuration of the ladder, this ladder would have been coming down over here. And again, if you've toured KIDD in the past, when you came down that ladder, you were immediately facing this bread locker. And a good video for you to reference, go to, there's a lot of noise, go to KIDD Bits, the educational playlist for teachers and students, and look for situational awareness video. Ryan Szymanski and Libby Jones at the New Jersey did one where they blindfolded Ryan and moved him through the battleship. And I related some of my experiences to them. I thought it was a great video, and they're like, oh, you got to do your experiences. So we did it with night vision goggles, and all the lights were turned off. And in the dark, I come down this ladder. I'm not bragging. A little bit. But come down this ladder when it was here in the dark, nothing going on, nobody could see anything except the guy with the camera, and feel my way through the ship. So you'll see in that video exactly what we're talking about, where this ladder landed, how this was in the way. But the shipyard moved the ladder and built from scratch this beautiful bulkhead, and this is an exact duplicate. If you're up in Boston or you're up in Buffalo and you go on the Sullivans or you go on the Cass & Young, you'll see an exact duplicate of this as original build. They never got the modification that we got. And our storage locker is back in place. It's just modified with the ladder shifting to a different area. Now we got all this open space on this side instead of that side. Yay. And we may do another video, we'll give you a sneak peek. We may do another video later on showing our coffer dams. Ooh.
Wow. Is that light from outside?
That is light from outside, yes.
Oh, there it is.
So another one of the projects that we've been aiming toward, but we haven't yet broached, but now we have, is repairing the fairings, the housings around the prop shafts and the gears for the prop shafts. And as you can see, they've begun the process, and these will be completely sealed up, welded shut, unlike what you would see on an active ship. And this will prevent water from getting into those housings on the strut and further along into the shaft, and keep it watertight, airtight, so that we don't have any water intrusion going up into the shaft and thus past the seals into the rest of the ship. So that's it for this dry dock update. We hope you've enjoyed it. We hope you see the work that's being done and agree with us that it's necessary work and that it's for the future, and making sure this gray lady, definitely gray right now, this gray lady lives for many, many decades to come. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting. Remember, like, share, and subscribe. Go to USSKIDD.com and hit that donate button and tell others to do it as well. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.